Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Sunday Night Live Show. Glad that you're with me here today. Thanks to everybody that tunes in live and also those that watch after the fact. Actually, more people watch, what's going on? More people watch after the fact than they do live. Live is cool, but if you want to watch after, that's cool as well. A couple of things I want to talk to you about. First of all, tomorrow morning, this is the Lexus RZ or RZ. That's the full electric Lexus. The embargo lifts tomorrow and we'll have our review. And look what's right next to it. That's the Subaru Solterra. That's the same platform. These both share the same platform with the Toyota BZ or BZ4X. So these two videos are coming out. The Lexus tomorrow, the Solterra on Wednesday. And then on Saturday, we have another top five compact sedans. And a lot of people are trying to save money on fuel, and a compact sedan is a great way to do that. So those are just some of the videos coming up. Don't forget to sign up to carcostcanada.com, carcostcanada.com. Use the promo code MOTORMOUTH and become an expert member. It gives you basically the wholesale price for the car, what the dealer paid for the car. And if you're going in and negotiating, that's a good tool to have. And you get a bunch of free searches for doing that. Okay, what else do we want to talk about? Oh, we're going to do some pictures in just a moment. We have a bunch of travel coming up. We're going to be going this week to Atlanta. And I mentioned last week on the live show, I couldn't remember the name of the high-end neighborhood in Atlanta. It's called Buckhead. Somebody wrote it there. And that's where we're going. Of course, with Genesis, they're taking us to Buckhead. That'll be kind of fun. The following week, it's the Mazda CX-90 in California. Then we fly home for just a couple of days, and then we fly back to California again for the Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid and the Toyota Prime, the Prius Prime. And then the week after that is the New York Auto Show. So there is a ton of stuff coming up in the show, and I've been editing like mad here because we got to get everything edited before we go on the road. Okay. Zach at motormouth.ca, Z-A-C-K at motormouth.ca, or Z-A-C-K at motormouth.ca if you want to get a picture in for the live show. So let's do that now. The first one is, now this one is close to my heart because if you watch us drive our cars on the, on any of the videos, this is an area right along the road where we drive. This is from Danny. He said, this is our Lexus NX 350. We just picked it up earlier this week. We ordered the cars after watching your reviews on the different versions of the NX last year. So that is very cool. So when we do the shots of the cars driving next to each other, that's right where we do it. The next one, this is a great one here. This is Richard. He said, here is my new 40 mile per gallon plus 2023 Maverick Hybrid. Oh, that's a truck I want. Next to my 10 mile per gallon 1967 Shelby Mustang GT 350. You know which one will be worth more in 10 years? It'll be the Mustang. That's a cool couple of cars to have. I'd love to have the Shelby and the Maverick for sure. This next one, I had to actually look up how to say it. This one is from Jimmy. It's his Maserati Grecale Trofeo Prima Series. There's only 325 in North America with this color, and he says he absolutely loves it. That looks pretty swish, doesn't it? And a pretty nice looking neighborhood too there as well. All right, our next picture comes. This is one I missed over the last couple of weeks. This is from Josh. He says, check out the Toyota, the Texas branch. Sorry, I've got to start again. I'll start again. This next one is from Josh. This is the Texas branch of the Bank of Toyota, a 2020 4Runner TRD Pro, a 2021 Toyota RAV4 Prime, and an all-new 2023 NX Hybrid, all worth more than they cost new. We thought in a couple of years' money, when money costs less, we could flip the NX and the 4Runner and get into a V8 Cayenne. I don't know, those are pretty nice looking cars. He said we were in the market for any Japanese compact hybrid, CRV, RAV4, Venza, etc. And we ended up getting so lucky that someone pulled out of an order at the last minute. We're able to get the exact ideal spec of the NX 350 Premium with the 14-inch screen and the 20-inch wheels, run flat, so we'll be replaced soon. So that's a pretty good, that's perfect proof of the Bank of Toyota. This one is one that's close to our heart. This one is from Benneth. He said he caught this beauty last July in Banff. Pristine green Volkswagen van. Not sure which generation this is from, but it's definitely a surprise to see. So this one is near and dear to our heart because that van was made up until 79, I believe, 78 or 79, and we had two of those. Ours were both white. We had one that was a Westphalia and one that was a tin top. It wasn't a Westphalia. And the Westphalia one, Andrea and I, when we were saving up for this house, we were newly married and we made a pact to save our money and save up to buy a house. So we decided instead of going on a vacation, you know, jumping on a plane and going somewhere, we would camp. So we grabbed our Volkswagen Westphalia and we drove from Vancouver across British Columbia through the Hot Springs area to Nakusp, and then finally made it to Banff. And we camped in Banff, spent a couple of beautiful days there, and then drove all the way back through the Duffy Lake Road to Pemberton, to Whistler, and then back into Vancouver. So that one is definitely near and dear to our heart. All right, what's the next one? Ah, this is a cool one. Excuse me. This is from Peter. He said, I wrote and photographed articles for various cycle magazines in the 2000s. So my two favorite words are press fleet. BMW lent me this for a month, so of course I rode the pants off it. Also, I worked as a cinematographer for years in Vancouver, so I've been watching your operating carefully. Full marks. You should have an honorary member to IATSE card, which is the union for cinematographers. Well, that's very heady praise, so thank you very much. I try my best with the video. And this last one is, where is it here? This is from Brent, a picture of the truck we use for towing our boat. That's a Nissan Titan. It has 38,000 kilometers on it. I work from home and don't drive it much, so the cost of gas is not a concern. It wouldn't be a very good daily commuter. Now that is true, but a lot of people do drive pickup trucks as daily commuters. Okay, one thing I just want to say, last week, got so many super chats, and I thank you for all of those. It's very generous that you guys support the channel. It's a way to highlight, to get your question answered, except last week I missed one. So I apologize, whoever sent in the last super chat that I missed. All right, I'm a bad one on me, so I apologize for that. Okay, let's see if we have any super chats so far. Here's Dr. JBN with a super chat. Thank you very much. No question, but that's very generous of you. Oh, here's his question. Hey, Zach, very close to pulling the trigger on a Porsche. See, he's got doctor in the title. See, doctors can afford Porsches. Trying to decide between a 992 GTS or Cayman GTS, 4-liter, both manual. 997 GT, both manual. Thoughts on which direction we need to go for? Very much appreciated. So these are very different cars. If you can afford to get the 997.2 GTS, that is a collectible car. That was a car that is just, a lot of people consider the 997 as the last true 911, because what happened when they went to the 991 and then now the 992, the cars have gotten too big. So yeah, you're talking about the last sort of compact 911 against a Cayman. Now, the Cayman is still smaller, but if you compared it to the 991 and the 992, they're just so much bigger. If you can get, like, they're both going to be collectible. I would say the 997.2 GTS will be more collectible with manual transmission, just because that has now ended, right? They're not making any more of those. Caymans and Boxsters, they're still making them. So if you can get, and the 911 is the top of the pile when it comes to the prestige of owning a Porsche sports car and also for resale value. So yeah, they're both wonderful cars, but the money is on the 997. My T-Bird also with a super chat. Thank you very much. For a future ride in your Maverick, plus support the channel for the super chat. Yeah, so I think one day I love having a pickup truck. So who just wrote here? Brent with a picture of his Titan pickup truck. I'm exactly the same way. I like having a pickup truck. Don't drive it very much. Sits there most of the time. But when you need a pickup truck, man, is it handy to have. All right, so thank you for all of the super chats so far. We have 233 people on board and 69 thumbs up. So more thumbs up, the better. That's always great. Let's get to the top of our list here and get into our first questions other than the super chats. Hey, Zach, your thoughts on the BMW X3 and X6? Is a 2024 redesign in the works? For the X6, there will be. BMW just has the redesign for the X5. So the X6 will follow. Basically the same car, except cropped, profile, a coupe-like silhouette. So that one will be coming. X3, I don't think will be imminent because the X3 was redesigned about a year and a half ago. Maybe not two, I don't think it's 2 full calendar years yet, but they redid the front and the back, and that car is just being redone. So most German cars are on a 7-year cycle. So all you have to do is go back in time and look at when the model was fully introduced, and then go forward 7 years and you'll be able to figure it out. Why is Bentley, Rolls-Royce, and Aston Martin, Alfa Romeo not electrifying their vehicles, and how much is a luxury car today? I looked at I did look at when the Q50 came out into production, and it was 2013. So this is something we talked about last week, saying a brand that has cars that are just sort of like rotting on the vine, and the Infiniti Q50 is one of them. So there you go, 10 years old now, and they're still producing the same car. It's a good car, nice car, but it's just way too long to leave a vehicle. Listen, I don't know what the plans are for all these high-end brands for electrification, but electrification, for better or worse, is coming. What's the difference between this the CX-40 Recharge and the Polestar 2? Pros, cons of each. You got to say Dodge is milking the milky cow with these final additions with stickers and hood pins. Dodge, like many other brands, is producing high horsepower cars and getting people excited about it. Just look at Audi with the RS cars they've introduced in North America that we never got. We've got an RS6 Avant, the cool station wagon. We've got an RS Q8. I saw one parked just down the street here earlier today. Porsche is introducing the V8 Cayenne S again for next year. I think they're trying to get as much money as they can from people who want these high-powered cars before they switch to electric, because they're going to need all the money that they can get. So what's the difference between the CX-30 Recharge and the Polestar? Well, one is a crossover and one is a car, basically built on the same platform with a similar kind of design on the inside for the interface. But I like the Polestar. I just think it's a nice looking. Actually, both cars are good looking. And they share the same underpinnings for the most part, but one is a car and one is an SUV. Oops, we lost what I was looking for here. Hang on a second. Sorry guys, I'm just looking for something here. This is from Webb. Hi, Zach. Which among the current generation of four-door Porsches drives and handles the best in your opinion? Well, I think it really comes down to what size of vehicle you want. If you're wanting the best handling crossover, it's going to be the Macan GTS. And if you're wanting the best handling car, it's going to be the Panamera. Same thing, the GTS is just fantastic. The Cayenne is bigger, and they make it handle, especially with those high performance models, like you're going to get a Cayenne GT or a GTS or a Turbo or Turbo S. Yeah, they have all kinds of great tricks to make them handle better. But anything that's lower to the ground and more nimble, Macan, GTS, and Panamera. Another super chat. This is from Jack. Thank you very much, Jack. No question, but I appreciate it. Oh, here's Jack's question. Hi, Zach. Do you guys have any plans to test drive the Toyota Crown? What do you think about the car? We're a bit disappointed that no Crown has shown up here yet for us to test drive. Toyota's been very good about getting cars out to the West Coast here. No Crown yet. I'll bug them. I tell you what, we will get our hands on it. I think it's a nice looking car, an interesting proposition. I don't know really with a higher end Toyota sedan hybrid. But listen, they have more cars in the lineup than any other brand. You think about all the way down to, they don't have the Yaris anymore, but they have the Corolla, the hybrid. They've got the Prius. Now they've got the Crown. They've got so many different things they've got the Camry hybrid. They've got so many different things they can layer in there, especially with hybrid technology. And you know what? They're selling everything they can make. If I hear one more person say Toyota is out of step because they're not going fully electric, they can't make enough hybrids. That's just the reality of it. The demand is through the roof. So they do have certainly a lot. I think it's a nice looking car for sure. The Crown. I like the look of it. Another very generous chat from Level 70. Hi, Zach. Considering purchasing a 2023 Subaru Outback Touring, do you think the base engine is powerful enough for moving around 4 people, or should I move up to the Limited XT? How's the reliability of Subaru turbos? Subaru as a brand has not been the strongest in terms of reliability, considering its competitive set from, say, Toyota. But if I always recommend to people, if you're going to buy an Outback, do yourself a favor and get the turbo. It's just a better car to drive. It's more enjoyable. It has more power. It really helps get around the fact that it comes with a continuously variable transmission. So if you can make the stretch and get the XT, I would suggest you go on looking up, what user reviews are of the turbo and how it's been. So the turbos have been out now for, I'm thinking, pretty close to 10 years. First in the Forester Turbo. They got rid of the Forester Turbo, and then they brought some others back. It hasn't been particularly strong in the Ascent. I'm not sure if it's the turbocharged engine or other things with the Ascent. The Ascent has been problematic for the first couple of years, so I don't know the answer for you when it comes to the reliability of the engine over the naturally aspirated version. But when it comes to drivability, you're going to feel much happier driving the turbo version of that. Another super chat. You guys are so generous. I appreciate it. I would like to stay under 50,000 price point. VW Golf R with a dual clutch, Audi S3, or the BMW 330 rear wheel drive. I think it's Golf R all day. Absolutely. If you can get one, that's the problem. So the S3 is another nice vehicle for sure, but the Golf R just has a much stronger following when it comes to people who want them. So you're going to have a much easier job getting rid of it when it's done to somebody that will pay you top dollar. I just think the Golf R is a special car. Listen, a 330 is a great vehicle, but you know what? A Golf R is special, and there's always going to be people that want one. Here's Charlottetown Spud, one of my favorite handles. Finally have my next car coming. Golf GTI 40th Anniversary Edition. Your quick opinion on the car, other than the capacitive buttons. I'm excited. Well, I'm a huge fan of the GTI. You know this is back to the Golf R as well. I always say, just get a GTI. I mean, we talked, Andrew and I, when we were driving the sport version of the Civic hatchback, and we're talking about it. And I said, you know what? Why would I get this? I could just get a GTI. So you have to know that, a GTI maybe isn't going to be as reliable, bulletproof reliability as, say, a Honda. But it's a special car. It's a wonderful machine. I actually was texting my buddy Lawrence Yap, former auto journalist and now works for FAF Automotive Group in Toronto, about his GTI. And I said, what is your deal with the capacitive touch and all that kind of stuff? He said, spend an hour and a half, 2 hours on the screen and customize it to the way you want. He said you can set up things like the heated seats and the heated steering wheel will come on automatically at a certain temperature, so you don't have to go into the screen. He said he keeps a microfiber cloth in the car, and he wipes down the screens when he turns it off because the fingerprints are just a nightmare. So he said the screen and the radio is fine. He said what he doesn't like are the capacitive touch on the steering wheel. But you know what? As a whole, the GTI is just such a wonderful, wonderful car. I think you're going to love it. Here's Jerome from Quebec saying, hi from Quebec City Auto Show. Wow, you're at the Quebec City Auto Show. Good for you. Auto shows aren't what they used to be, that's for sure. Auto shows have definitely been suffering when it comes to the level of support from manufacturers, which is really sad. Okay. And thank you for the super chat, Jerome. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to back up to the top here. MJ. Any news on the CX-70? I saw the CX-60 reviews from Europe, and it seems like a really interesting car. Thoughts on where Mazda is heading as a brand and with its cars. So let's get through the CX-90. We're going to be driving it in a week and a half, 2 weeks. So that's their big push, right? So they're trying to get that car launched. That's going to be their push, and then we'll move towards the CX-70. So I think the whole trend with Mazda is on their entry-level cars, they really are competing with the main line. So like the CX-90 is going to be competing with the Honda Pilot, the Highlander, and all those three-row mid-size SUVs. But their top trims, especially when you get into the signature trim, you get much more opulent interiors and materials. They really creep into the premium space, but they do it at a price that's below where the premium cars live. So it's really quite an interesting proposition. They're trying to move the brand up market. However, on the base cars, still have a mass appeal, market-driven car. So I think it's interesting. You got to remember, they don't have a luxury division. So Toyota is Lexus, Nissan has Infiniti, and so on, Acura after Honda, but they don't have that luxury. So they literally don't have that luxury division. So they're trying to have their cake and eat it too, and this is not a bad way of doing it. That's where they're going. Hi, Zach. Thanks for the great content. What are your thoughts on a great vehicle for someone with 2 Portuguese water dogs? I currently have a CX-5, but almost too nice of a car for what I need. Have you ever thought about having a dog car? Like just an old used car just for the dogs. That's something, but that's more insurance. I don't know. I think that you could get a CRV is going to be fairly roomy, a Honda CRV, and the back of the car is really easy to wipe down if you put a good liner in there. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. The good thing is to get protection for the back of the car. You could even get like the 3M or the clear film that goes over the back bumper. So if the dogs jump in, they're not going to scratch the paint on the bumper. You're going to have that clear film there. It's a bit of an investment. And then get a good trunk liner for the... So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I would just get good protection for the inside of the car. Because whatever car you're going to get, the dogs are going to, stink it up. Stinky dogs, wet dogs. Nothing like a smelly wet dog. Because they are Portuguese water dogs, and we all know when they come out of the water what they smell like. They smell like wet dog. Here's Reinhardt. Hi, Zach. Thanks for the great content. What are your thoughts on a great vehicle for someone... Oh, that's the two... I just read that one. KPKP. Speaking of Mazda, also people are saying that Mazda is setting its bar way too high to compete with the likes of BMW. Listen, nobody's driven the car yet. So we're talking about the CX-90 with the inline 6-cylinder, and everybody's like just jumping to the conclusion that it's going to drive like a BMW. But BMWs have become softer, right? So your image in your mind of an inline 6-cylinder and a BMW and this super nimble racer kind of car really isn't the case anymore. When you drive a modern BMW, the steering is lighter, the suspension is more compliant. Yes, they have those beautiful inline 6-cylinders available, but let's get behind the wheel and drive it, and we will in a couple of weeks, and after that, we're going to be able to report back with more authority. Another super chat from 1985, Jack Jones. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Here's MJ again with another super chat. Have an Audi A4 all-road, cool car, and I absolutely love it, but need more space in the rear passenger seat for car seats. Why is a used A6 all-road so hard to find in North America? Well, there's just not many sold new. Interestingly, we had a picture in from a viewer last week of his new Q7 and his Porsche Cayenne. He traded in an A6 all-road. It's too bad we couldn't have hooked you guys up or missed it by a couple of weeks. So his is now at the dealer. It might have already been sold. So there's just not a lot of love for wagons. You know this. You drive an A4 all-road. And when do you ever see another one? You don't. So I don't know what to say other than, getting a new one's very spendy. But just do a search in something like Auto Trader and do the search and save the search for when one becomes available. You'll get an email notification. That's how I got my car. And then you can, bid on it. Just not a lot sold new, so there's even less used. This is why I'm always going on. If you watch this regularly, I'm always saying, if you buy something that's unique and different, and there's just not many sold new, so once they're not available any longer, and then you try to find them in the used market, there's even less for sale because the people that have them, are just keeping them. And the very small percentage of people that want to sell them, that's what shows up in the marketplace. So compared to new, there's a very finite amount that are available at any one time. Back to the question we had earlier about the Porsche 997.2 GTS with a manual transmission. So when they were available new, you could order one and wait for it to come in. Now you've got to wait for, a very small percentage of people that own that particular car wanting to sell it. So the numbers are really, really quite small. So I don't know what to suggest other than put a search in, all of the search engines that you can look up used cars. You can save a search with email notifications, and that's what you should do. This is from James. Zach, thank you. I love my CX-30, but sometimes wish I had waited for the turbo, but also feel my naturally aspirated is more reliable. Should I upgrade to the turbo? No, I think that the non-turbo engine in that car is more than enough. I mean, the turbo is the interesting thing about the turbo from Mazda in the smaller cars like the Mazda 3 and the CX-30. You would think you get this major, kick in the back of the seat and away you go. It's not like that. It almost feels torquey like a diesel. You get this kind of surge of power. You don't get a snap of power. You get this surge of power. You got to remember, that engine was developed for the CX-9 3-row midsize SUV. And because it's a low compression turbo, that you have more of that torquey feel. Okay, that's really what I would say is enjoy your car and don't feel like you're missing out. If you want to make the switch and go for something that's snappier, something like the Volkswagen Taos with the 1.5 liter turbo, feels pretty good, especially because it's got the dual clutch. You guys are spoiling me with all these super chats, I tell you. Another one here from Level 70. Hi, Zach. A dealer offered me $2,500 below the Canadian Black Book value for my low mileage 2011 CRV trading, claiming the banks won't finance a car that's over 10 years old. Is he trying to lowball me? Well, there probably is a bit of truth in that they're, I tell you what, James, who just did the super chat a moment ago, where's James here? Tripping with James Dumas. James used to work at a dealership. Now, James, can you write below, is it true that it's hard to get financing with a car that's over 10 years old? Listen, dealers that are motivated to sell a car will find a way to get somebody in the car. That's my guess. So maybe they're just using that as an excuse to beat you up on the price. Listen, if you've got the one thing about the 2011 CRV is it has the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, which is incredibly reliable, and it had if I'm not wrong, the 5-speed automatic transmission. In 2012, they went to the 6-speed, but that car, if you maintain it, will run indefinitely. It is a bulletproof product. Nothing fancy, as you know. The interior is a bit plastic fantastic, but that thing, if you maintain it, will run indefinitely, and someone will want it. So I would love for James to write below and confirm if that is actually the case. Wow, we've got some very generous people today with the super chat. This one is from Scott Young. Thank you very much, Scott. Happy Sunday, Zach. What's your opinion of the Lexus NX 450h Plus? Is it worth waiting until RX 450h Plus? The NX 450h Plus is a really nice product. They did a really good job. Now, we haven't driven the RX, so I'm a bit of on a back foot here because of that. But we have driven the hybrid, the gas, and the high-performance RX. In fact, we just put the high-performance one out yesterday. So they're all based on the same principle, whether it's the smaller format in the NX or the larger format. Lexus and Toyota have not confirmed the EV range, and they have not confirmed the details. But you can just look at one and copy and paste for the other. So I like the RX. I think the interior, I agree with Andrea on this one, is slightly more refined than the NX. But it all comes down to your space requirements. Do you need a slightly bigger version? Because the NX is the handling car of the two. It's smaller, more nimble. My heart kind of likes the NX, but the RX I understand, and the price of it is going to be really high. So the good thing is we know the price of the NX, we know the range of the NX, and we know that it's actually a fun car to drive. The RX, we don't know the range, we don't know the price. That is yet to be confirmed. So I'm a bit of a disadvantage here, and that's really all I can say. Old Dog, thank you again for another super chat. I have a 21 Audi SQ5. Nice car. I'm hearing horror stories about cost of maintenance. Love the car, but thinking of ditching it due to this. Thoughts? Okay, so you've got a 21, right? So that car's 2 years old. So if you're worried about maintenance and costs, before the regular 4-year warranty runs out, you can then buy from Audi or an aftermarket warranty an extended warranty. So as the car is getting towards the end of its 4th year, that's when you want to extend the warranty if you're worried about things like going wrong, right? Now, maintenance and repairs are two different things. Maintenance is the yearly cost to service the car, to upgrade the brakes when they wear out, tires, all those sorts of things. And you know what? It's going to be similar for an Audi as it would for any other high-end car, like a BMW or so on, Mercedes-Benz or a Porsche. So, high-end cars with big engines and big wheels, they chew through brakes and tires more than you would get with just a regular car. So if you budget for that, you'll be fine. If you're really worried about repairs, which is different from maintenance, you can alleviate that pain by extending the warranty just before the 4-year bumper-to-bumper or comprehensive warranty runs out. That's my advice. And that's why, you're exactly why so many people lease these cars. So here you are with a 2-year-old car, and you're thinking to yourself, I don't really want to worry about this. You can always just roll every 3 or 4 years from one car into another. And boy, those dealers love that, because they get a fresh car back every 3 or 4 years, and then they can resell it for more money. And they do exactly what I just suggested. They put on what's called a certified pre-owned warranty. They extend the warranty for a few years to give peace of mind to the used buyer. You can do the same thing. Okay, here's James' reply to, will they finance after 10 years? James used to work in the dealership. Correct, Zach. Banks only see it as a line on a ledger, similar to modifications that will not add value. A traditional bank will not like to finance something that old, but I'm sure the dealer can get financing from somebody out of a traditional bank. Here's Reinhard. He says, having worked at a car dealership, if you buy a 10-year-old vehicle, it's more difficult to get bank financing. Best is if you have a good chunk of money down, but banks have a minimum money they'll finance. So this is good information. See, gotta love this community that we get answers from people that are in the game. Here's Jean with another super chat. 2019 Volvo S60 T6 R Design, dealer certified until 2025, 70,000 kilometers, $36,000. Thoughts on the engine reliability? Really enjoyed the sedan test drive. So Weren't you looking at a BMW 330e plug-in recently? So of the two, I would probably go for the BMW. I like Volvos and I enjoy driving them. I am just not sold on the reliability of Volvo. I'm just not. So listen, every time, not every time, but a lot of times we get them. I enjoy driving them, but there's some little quirk that, or something that just isn't working properly. And so that's really my advice. I think that you can spend your money better on something else. Well, you guys are loading up on the super chats. I'm blushing over here. Here's from Peter. I live in Pennsylvania. If a hybrid is parked outside full-time during the winter, no garage, do I need to be concerned about the battery issues? Should lack of garage steer me away from a hybrid? Absolutely not. I wouldn't worry about it one bit. One thing you've got to remember is battery for a Toyota or Lexus, for example, is actually inside the car. It's under the rear seat, and batteries. Cold is an issue. Heat is worse for batteries than cold, and I wouldn't worry about it. I would just drive it. Listen, there are taxis that are hybrids, like Prius is, famous and renowned for being used in taxi fleets all over the world, and those things see day and night, every kind of situation you could imagine, and they have millions of miles on them. So if you're thinking about a Toyota hybrid or a Lexus hybrid, just enjoy the car and don't even think about it. Sista Foxy, thank you for the super chat. You don't get many, but that's a good handle, Sista Foxy. Here's another one, super chat. Thank you very much. You guys are, I really appreciate all these super chats. This is another one. I salute your memory. Thanks for the advice. But here's a follow-up from Zoner. He says, my brother has a high mileage Volvo and it's very reliable, but parts pricing and availability is terrible. So there you go. There's more feedback. So thank you. All those super chats. I can't believe it. You guys have gone to town again this week. So that's very nice of you. Okay. All right, back up to the top we go. I apologize for all of those who got in early. I know it's nice of you to get in early. MGJ. Hey, Zach, Hey, Zach, what would be your pick for mid-size luxury SUV? Q5, X5, GLE, or maybe a used Cayenne? I like quiet, comfy ride, but also like some sportiness. Well, so you have to really answer the question. First of all, do you want a third row? So if you want a third row seat, then the Q7 is going to be a good answer because it comes standard with a third row, I should say. I am not a fan of the X5 and the GLE third row seats. They're just really quite small. If it was me, I think the best all-rounder is the BMW X5. Even though we have Porsche Cayennes, I love the Cayenne. I would definitely consider that one. It would be near the top of my list. But I just think, overall with the inline six-cylinder, with the wonderful iDrive connectivity you have in an X5, really nice size, handsome looking car as well. There's loads of them around that you're going to be able to find in your price range and age. The X5 is a pretty good vehicle, kind of hard to beat. Do you think that the Mitsubishi Outlander PHE is priced wrong now with this CX-90 from Mazda coming out at such a great price? Well, let's wait until we drive it. We're going to have to wait until we drive it in a couple of weeks to see what that plug-in hybrid is all about and if it delivers the goods. The Outlander definitely has moved up in price, but they have so many trims. You don't have to go and load it up and get it fancy. You can get a fairly basic one and try and keep the price down. And it also qualifies, if you're in Canada, for a $5,000 tax credit. So let's wait. Let's just pump the brakes until we get a chance to drive it. Someone is saying, great show. Appreciate that. Here's Susan with a hello. Hello back. Thank you very much. Here's John Burke. Hey, Zach, will you be getting the Type R anytime soon? We're still waiting for the SI. So I don't know. Listen, and we're still waiting for the Pilot, and we're still waiting for the Accord Hybrid. So I'm not sure what's going on with Honda, but we wait, and we wait, and we wait. Here's Jake saying, everyone hit the thumbs up. Do you think EVs have the infrastructure and dependability to be the future to handle long road trips? So first of all, thank you. And yeah, we've got 365 people on board right now and 165 thumbs up. So if you could smash the thumbs up, that would be really good. Do we have the infrastructure and dependability for the future to handle long road trips? I don't think yet. I think that we are getting there. You know, one of the major calling cards for people buying a Tesla is the supercharger network. I mean, you know, they were smart building out. They put the horse in front of the cart instead of what's happening with the rest of the EV game. They're putting the cart in front of the horse. They're pushing all of these EVs out in the marketplace, but we just haven't built out the charging infrastructure. Tesla did kind of the other way around, or did it in tandem. And, you know, you can just hear from Tesla owners gloating about their supercharging network. So this is one of the pet peeves I have, is why are we giving rebates for individual transportation for cars that are already sold out? So the demand outstrips supply. So people are going to buy every single EV that's available in the market now. Oh, and by the way, here's some money for something you already wanted. Why don't we take that money and put it into building a real first-class, world-class charging infrastructure, plus the electric grid that's going to have to support it? So yes, it can be done, but I'm not sure that we're at that stage yet. What are your thoughts on the Macan GTS versus the Q5 SQ5? Listen, it all comes down to space. If you need the back seat for anything other than, you know, small kids, then you're going to want the Audi. The Audi has a better configured back seat and cargo area. Now, if it's just you and you're out to have some fun and you want to have the sportier of the two, then it's going to be the Porsche. So absolutely, the GTS just has monster power and sounds fantastic, looks really cool, but the back seat, she's tiny, and so is the trunk. So it really comes down to a gut check of what you need. Hi, the manual WRX offers an option for a short throw shifter. How do they change it to a short throw shifter, and why not just offer the car with a short throw shifter in the first place? Money grab? I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of that. Is that a dealer install thing? I don't know about that. That's the first I've heard of that. We went on the launch of the WRX, and I don't remember them mentioning that. So, my bad. I don't know. And the thing is, maybe they just know if people want it, they'll spend the money. It's called marketing. It's called, you know, getting more of your cash, moving you up the ladder in terms of features and benefits. So you want this feature? Oh, by the way, that's going to cost you more money. They just love to extract more out of you. That's their job. Their job's to get your money. Your job is to try and save it. Hey, Zach, what are your thoughts on the previous generation Grand Cherokee SRT 14 to 21 as a used vehicle purchase in terms of reliability? I don't know specifically about the SRT, which is a big question mark. I do know that the Grand Cherokee, as an overall package, especially those later year ones, were really quite reliable. I remember I did an interview with Dave Sargent, the head of JD Power, a few years ago. And he had the car we have, which is a Cayenne diesel personally. And then I talked to him a year or so later. I said, oh, do you still have your Cayenne diesel? He said, no, I've got a Grand Cherokee. And he's at JD Power. They do the research. And I said, how is the Grand Cherokee in terms of reliability? He said it's one of the bright stars at FCA then, or Stellantis. So as an overall package, they are quite reliable. Now, I don't know the intricacies of that high performance V8 model, but that's what I can tell you. Okay. We have a few more super chats here. Here's MJ. Why aren't wagons popular, practical, and so fun to drive? I don't get it either. I love station wagons. We had a BMW 5 Series station wagon, the first generation, the E34, when it came in the early 90s. I didn't have it new then. I bought it used years later, but wonderful car. We actually got rid of the X5 and switched to the first generation X5, and the 5 Series had more rear seat legroom and a bigger cargo area. Hello? Anybody who's ever driven a station wagon knows you get the handling of a car and the utility of an SUV. Often more rear seat legroom and often more cargo space. A perfect example of that is the Golf Sport Wagon. I don't know why they got rid of that. It had such a massive following. So in the non-luxury space, really the only one we have now is not even sold really as a pure wagon anymore, is the Outback, which used to be the legacy wagon. So it's slightly raised, but at its origins, it really is still a station wagon. When you get into the premium space, you've got the A4 All-Road, the A6 All-Road, Mercedes-Benz. I think the E-Class wagon is maybe still available, but they're all going away. And it's unfortunate because when you go to Europe, you see so many wagons or touring models that are just, or estates, they're just fantastic to drive, especially at higher speeds on long road trips. Here's Jake with a super chat. MDX or X5? Well, it depends on your budget. Like the MDX is just as an overall package greater value, right? You just get better value. It starts at a lower price. You get more features. You could even, for the price of the Type S, which is the high performance twin turbo 3-liter V6 version, you could get that version for the same price you're going to pay really for an X5. And it's got 3 rows of seats, and it's got adaptive suspension, and what else has it got? It's got the big ass brakes on it and all that kind of stuff. And it's got the nicer interior with the Alcantara seats. So for the same price as an X5, you could get a Type S MDX. But what it doesn't have is the inline 6-cylinder that's in the X5. It's just the gold standard, really. So up in the X5, GLE, Porsche Cayenne world, of those three, the X5 with the inline 6-cylinder really is the one to beat. Now, what did Mercedes-Benz do? They also came back with an inline 6 and a mild hybrid system, and it works damn well. It's a nice product as well, a bit softer. So I got a soft spot for the X5, but if you're shopping new, look at the MDX Type S with all of the goodies, the go fast bits, and it is a really nice car to drive. Now, when you go to the inside, you've got the iDrive system in the X5, which is gold standard as well. High-end infotainment systems in luxury cars, BMW does it better than all of them. And then you have MDX with the trackpad. That's not so good. That's near the bottom of infotainment systems for usability. So it's kind of all adding up to X5, if you can afford it. Hell on Wheels did a super chat as well. Oh, here's your question. I ordered a 2023 Kicks to replace my 18 Versa Note after watching a review. Thanks for your work. Well, they're actually built on the same shared platform. So you're basically going from the Versa Note into the Kicks, and it will have some similarities. And I'm a big fan of the Kicks. I just think it's great value, good value for money. A lot of people, buy them. They just sell incredibly well. The rumor I heard, I'm not sure if this has been confirmed yet, is Qashqai, or Nissan Rogue Sport as it's called in the United States, might be going away because the Rogue is so popular and the Kicks is so popular. Where does that leave Qashqai Rogue Sport? But I haven't heard if that's been official yet. Here's Bruce with the super chat. Thank you very much. And here's another super chat. Do you find a big difference between the Venza and the RX 350h? Okay, so the Venza is a slightly different package of the RAV4 hybrid. Okay, so you've got the same engine, transmission, hybrid system, all at work. 218, 219 horsepower, 218 I believe it is. And then when you get the NX, you get that, but the electric motor is bigger. They take the electric motor from the RX and they put that in the NX. So you get more performance out of a hybrid. Now, one of the things and the complaints about Toyota hybrids, whether it's Venza or RAV4, is that they're really fuel efficient. They're just not that dynamic to drive. So if you get the NX, you're going to have more power, and you will notice it. It is a noticeable difference. However, I'm trying to remember now if the Venza has a spare tire or run flats. That's one of the downgrades for the NX is the run flat tires. But all the 2023 models for Toyota, for the most of them, have been upgraded to the same infotainment system that offers wireless Apple and Android, similar to what you get in the NX. I think that the Venza is a nice product. If you don't get the top trim, you don't get the big pano roof. So that's something to consider, okay? Here's Peter again, another super chat. Boy, you guys are loading up. I appreciate it. You're very, very generous. I visited a Kia dealership in Pennsylvania this week. They added 7,000 market adjustment MSRP to the Kia Sportage. I laughed. What say you? Well, what people crap on Kia cars because, oh, who would buy a Kia? Like, it's just, you know, they've never driven one. First of all, they've never driven one, but they just crap on Kia and Hyundai because they're Korean. All I can tell you is, this is the one brand I hear the most about market adjustments is Kia. Well, they got to be doing something right if they really feel that they can charge up to $7,000 over MSRP for a Kia Sportage or Sportage. Well, and then the Telluride, good luck getting one of those. They're doing the same thing with those and many other cars. So they have something there. I think that people are really bought into the Kia design outside and inside, and they have some great technology. I don't know. I just think these dealers that are doing this, the karma's a bitch, and it's going to come back and bite them on the ass. I wouldn't spend a nickel over MSRP for a car. I would just wait. I have cars. They work. I mean, how bad is your car that you need to get a new one? I would, if I had an older car and it was getting older, I would invest in that. Maybe it needs new tires and brakes or new shocks, or maybe it needs a transmission overhaul or a new water pump or a new alternator. Whatever it is, if you invest, you know, a bit of money into it, not much, but a bit of money into it, it's going to get you through. As we continue down the road with high interest rates and inventory starting to build and a slowdown in the economy, which we haven't really seen yet, we're seeing a little bit, but not much, I think prices are going to sort of equal out. So keep the car you have, maybe invest a little bit of money to get you down the road until you can get a new one. But I wouldn't be paying anybody over MSRP for anything. I think it's just crazy. Another super chat. You guys are going hog on these. Between Mazda 3 and Subaru Crosstrek, which is the best to own in terms of reliability and cost of ownership? I would say probably the Mazda would be less prone to issues because Subaru has a continuously variable transmission. They've got a 6-speed automatic in the Mazda or the Mazda, and they have engines that have been around for a long time. The 2-liter or the 2.5 liter or even the 2.5 turbo. Crosstrek I like though. I think one is a car and one is a crossover. It's definitely roomier in the Crosstrek, bigger back seat, bigger cargo area, more ground clearance, all those kinds of things. But if I would just say, if I had to just make a bet on which one would be more problem free after 10 years, I would probably say the Mazda. Richard Hale with another super chat. Do you have a recommendation for used certified luxury Lexus or better hybrid SUV? Two-row is fine, 50,000 or less. Listen, if you're looking for a luxury hybrid, there really is only Lexus. Nobody else offers hybrids. You have some plug-ins that may be coming into the used market now. But yeah, you're looking at a two-row Lexus RX 450h. That's a used product, and I like that better than the NX hybrid that was available up until this year. So look for an RX 450h. That would be your best option. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats here, because you guys have been loading up and have been very, very, very generous. So thank you very much. And I did miss one last week, so I definitely apologize for that. Just going through these. Apologize. Just give me 2 seconds. Okay, I think down we go again. And we have another one here. Moving from Q5 to Venza 2023 Limited. I was surprised with the ride quality and tech. It was very close. Your opinion? Well, the problem with the Q5 is that the Q5 has been in market now for quite a few years, right? And they got rid of, I'm not sure what your Q5 is. They got rid of the MMI controller and they've gone to a touch screen. And I just think that this is a band-aid solution until they come out with a new Q5, which I believe is going to be shown later this year. So it's definitely a product that has been aging gracefully, I would say, in the marketplace. Now, I'm not sure what trim of Venza you got either. But yeah, I mean, the one thing about Toyota is that they know how to make a really competent car. So that's all I can say is, so the Q5 is at the end of its run. It's going to be replaced. And when it comes, we'll definitely leapfrog the Venza in terms of interior capabilities. Another super chat. Thank you very much. And here's your question here. I have a 17 4.4 liter V8 X5. Do you think I should sell it as soon as possible? I wonder if the prices will drop drastically very soon. Well, I think that we're going to see, we have to see a bunch of things happen in the marketplace. So as a used market watch, I get an email every week in the Canadian market for sure, that the prices of used cars over the last 6 or 8 months has been slowly coming down and now is kind of stabilizing. So there had to be definitely a reckoning. The prices were way too high and the prices have come down and now have leveled off a little bit. So what we all have to wait and see is, are the interest rates that are being implemented in the marketplace enough to bring inflation down to the 2% target that the Fed and all other central banks have? Right now, we're up around 6% inflation, and we're starting to see it level off in some parts of the economy. However, inflation is definitely being sticky. You know this if you've been shopping at the grocery store. Fuel prices are set to go back up this summer because of restrictions for capacity and refining and all sorts of different things as we head into the summertime. So 2 main components of your life are fuel and food are remaining sticky, and then other things have come down dramatically. Real estate is one. Housing is a big one. So we've seen a major reduction in the cost of homes, but interest rates are high, so the overall cost is still remaining high. So we have to keep a real eye on the Federal Reserve in the United States and the other central banks in the world to see if they're going to really tackle this and take it down to what it needs to be. Their target is 2% inflation. We're not there yet, and that will have a knock-on effect with the economy when it comes to cars. So what you're seeing now are interest rates of anywhere from 7 to 9% for a new car. That's expensive to borrow money. The cost to borrow has gone way up for new cars. Sales really haven't gone down that much because there was so much pent-up demand over the last couple of years from COVID's chip shortage and supply constraints. So those cars are coming into the market. My gut says the acid test will be this fall to see, once we've been through like a full year of higher interest rates, where that leaves us. And I think that we're going to start to see used car inventories build up, and maybe used car sales start to temper even more. We'll have to wait and see. So the answer to your question about your X5 is it is a good time to trade it in. Like, if you can get a new car, if you can get one, you're still going to be trading in or selling your X5 at elevated prices than what it would typically be if we hadn't gone through this over the last 3 years, okay? So what's the date today? It's March 12th. It's almost exactly 3 years ago that the world shut down. I remember it was March 13th. It was Friday the 13th. That's when everything shut down because of COVID 3 years ago. It's crazy to think back to what we've lived through over the last 3 years. I like this question. Should I sell my paid-for home, liquidate my assets, not for watches though, and move to Italy and buy a €1 home and a Ferrari? And those are some big problems to have. Italy is a wonderful place. I love visiting Italy. I'm just not sure I would want to live there full time with all the craziness. I met an auto journalist, American, who lived in Italy and married an Italian. And I said, what's it like to live in Italy? He says, well, stuff just doesn't happen the way you expect it to in North America. You know, expect things to work a certain way. They work on Italian time, and they get things done the Italian way. But my favorite place to visit, absolutely. Another super chat from Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it. Okay, I think we're just going to wrap it up here. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody. Man, you guys just absolutely slayed it with the super chats. This time, you guys are spoiling me. Now, yes, I do answer questions from other people. The super chats are just a way to highlight that I'll see them. Last week I missed one. Bad on me, but that definitely happens. Excuse me. I can't read every single question, of course, but I do read them all after the fact. So thank you very much. Don't forget, when you wake up tomorrow morning, the Lexus RZ or RZ review will be out, the embargo list tomorrow. Wednesday, it's the Subaru Solterra, the cousin of this, both electric from each brand, their first electric vehicles. On Saturday, we're doing our top 5 sedan video and more. If you want to get a question in, it's Zach at motormouth.ca, ZACK at motormouth.ca. I need a drink of water, so I'm going to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.